I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is PsycHacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is women are the brakes. That's right, they are the brakes. If men are the gas, then women are the brakes. As we'll see, they are the brakes not only when it comes to sex, but also when it comes to the progress of society in general. Big statement, but I think I can back it up. Let's get to it. First of all, let's talk about women being the brakes when it comes to sex. Basically, this means that in heterosexual relationships, sex tends not to happen as quickly or as frequently as men want, but as quickly or as frequently as women allow. Most people already understand this, and this is why women are understood to be the gatekeepers of sex. What is less understood is exactly how disparate these tendencies in men and women are. Like, just how much sex would men have if women weren't exercising their influence? Since this is hypothetical, we'll never know for sure, but we can probably get a reasonable approximate by comparing the behaviors of men and women of different sexualities. After all, according to Dr. David Buss, who wrote on this subject in his excellent The Evolution of Desire, gay and straight men don't significantly differ from each other with respect to their desire for sex. That is, straight men want to have just as much sex as gay men do. They just effectively want to utilize different people to satisfy their respective desires. It's actually surprisingly difficult to get reliable information on average lifetime partners among the different sexualities, most likely due to optics management. More on that later. However, the best figures I was able to come up with come from the CDC in the US and the Natsal survey in the UK, admittedly very stodgy sources. Apparently, and on average, straight women have 7 to 8 lifetime partners. Lesbian women have 8 to 12 lifetime partners. Straight men have 10 to 12 lifetime partners. And gay men have 20 to 40 plus lifetime partners. The plus sign is a cute, albeit vague, addition. Why would this be necessary? Well, it turns out that some gay men, not all of them, but some of them, are so incredibly promiscuous that their numbers would significantly skew the overall averages for the demographics, which would taint the perception of the entire sexual identity, hence optics. Therefore, 20 to 40 was settled on as the average range for the non-promiscuous gays, and a little plus sign added after the fact, like an asterisk on a controversial baseball stat. So, just how promiscuous can some gay men get? Well, according to one study, linked in the description, that examined sexual behavior in gay men, 75% of those surveyed had had more than 100 sexual partners, and a whopping 28% had had more than 1,000. That's kind of a big plus sign. My point here is not to slut shame gay men. Far from it. My point is that if Buss's conclusions are to be believed, that many straight men would absolutely be as promiscuous as many gay men if they could. However, gay men have other gay men for partners. It's all gas and no brakes. And so those guys are off to the races. On the other hand, straight men have straight women for partners, and the brakes of the woman exert a very retarding force on the progress of male desire. Just consider the numbers. Straight men's average number of lifetime partners is functionally equivalent to that of lesbian women. And it is much closer to that of straight women than to gay men. As a result, we can more or less conclude that A, men on the whole are respecting women in their role as the gatekeepers of sex, and B, men are much more likely to experience the sexual discomfort of being made to go slower than they'd want than women are to experience the sexual discomfort of being made to go faster than they'd like. Want my advice whenever you need it? Introducing Orion AI, a speech-enabled agent trained on my entire body of work, now at your fingertips. Hey, Orion, why aren't I getting the results I want in dating?
Here's where I'd start.
Results in dating are a direct readout of your current market position, not your intentions, not your effort, not how good a person you are, your position. Couldn't have said it better myself. Orion AI, now available. Go to oriontaraban.ai for more info. The link is in the description. However, I think we can expand this metaphor beyond the bedroom. In terms of social development, we can also consider men to be the gas and women to be the brakes. How so? Well, among other things, women are more concerned about their safety than men are, which could also help to explain their relative sexual reticence, and they engage in fewer risky behaviors relative to men. As a consequence, women tend to be more conservative. I don't necessarily mean politically conservative. Like in the US anyway, women are significantly more likely to be left-leaning than men are, but conservative in the sense of playing it safe. One way they do this is to mimic the modal opinions and behavior that they see exhibited in the women around them. Paradoxically, it's this tendency to play it safe that makes women today politically progressive, which generally does not result in greater social safety for women. Once the dominant political ideology shifted in a critical mass of women, more and more women began to adopt more and more radical political positions. This is because women often consider it less safe to deviate from the modal behavior of the women around them than to advance policies that reduce the societal safety of women. And I think this is because, in general, women can play it safe and still turn out okay. For example, most women end up reproducing. Throughout human history, about 60% of women, as compared with 40% of men, have successfully reproduced. An average woman can situate herself right in the fattest part of the bell curve and still reasonably expect to be successful. Not so for men. Just according to that statistic, an average man, a man like in the 50th percentile, is not likely to reproduce. If he wants to succeed, a man has to take risks and rise in the dominance hierarchy up to the higher percentiles. If men do nothing, they tend to lose, which understanding on some level forces their hand to take risks, socially, professionally, sexually. They can't accept the status quo because the status quo is much more likely to discount and disqualify him than the opposite. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Men are the ones who drive things forward. They lead the revolts and revolutions. They push for progress and discovery. They compete and conquer. Men tend to see what they have to gain, women what they have to lose. Men are the gas, the accelerators that drive civilization forward. Women understand this. It's a large part of their modern cant against masculinity in general. After all of these risks, the discovery, the revolution, the conquest, are obviously double-edged swords. This tendency in men has created an enormous amount of bloodshed and horror and awfulness throughout human history. It's true. And this is why it is presumed that a matriarchal society would be kinder, gentler, more compassionate, etc. I doubt it, but I can't get into that right now. That said, this risk-taking tendency in men has also produced liberalism and philosophy and science and high art and pretty much every modern comfort, convenience, and safeguard that we all take for granted. Would life be safer and gentler and kinder without these things? Especially if you live next to another society who didn't play by the same rules? In any case, I think I made my point. Both sexually and socially, men are the gas. They push forward, for better or worse, and women are the brakes. They slow things down, for better or worse. And it's almost certainly for the best that we have both. Like a car without an accelerator is useless, but a car without brakes is a death trap. Both pedals are necessary, but they also aren't used equally. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know in the comments below. And please send this episode to someone who you think might benefit from its message, because it's word of mouth referrals like this that really help to make the channel grow. Other value adds. I have a lot going on behind the scenes. You can join my free weekly newsletter. You can book a paid one-on-one consultation with yours truly. You can buy my books, my bestseller on relationships, The Value of Others, and my novel about the final days of Vincent van Gogh, Starry Night. I have my agent, Orion AI, providing round-the-clock counsel whenever you need it. And finally, I have my private community, the Captain's Quarters, where I respond to your issues in real time in live group consultation calls. There's a lot of value outside of the YouTube channel. Check it out if you are so inclined, because there's a lot outside here that I can't say on this platform. As always, I appreciate your support, and thank you for listening.